In the news tonight, His Majesty the King hands the Hashemite flag to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff during a ceremony as Jordanians mark the anniversary of the King's accession to the throne. Saudi-led airstrikes kill at least 19 people across Yemen. And Turkey's pro-Kurdish People's Democratic Party rules out joining any coalition with the ruling AK party, which lost its parliamentary majority after elections. Good evening and welcome to a new edition of the news. Here are the details. His Majesty the King, the Supreme Commander of the Jordan Armed Forces Arab Army, handed the Hashemite flag to the King's Advisor for Military Affairs and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mish'al Mohammed al-Zeben. The handover took place during a military ceremony attended by Her Majesty Queen Rania, His Royal Highness Crown Prince Hussein, other royal family members and high-ranking civic and military officials. The Hashemite flag derives its colors and slogan from the Great Arab Revolt flag that had historical, religious and pan-Arab symbolism. The handing of the flag by the King to the armed forces was proof of the high status the armed forces had earned. During the ceremony, which began with the national anthem, a squadron of F-16 fighter jets overflew the capital and other areas of the kingdom. Following the ceremony, King Abdullah, in the presence of Her Majesty Queen Rania and His Royal Highness Crown Prince Hussein, held a reception to the Jordan Armed Forces at Al Husseiniya Palace. The handing of the Hashemite flag to the Armed Forces Chief coincides with celebrations marking the 16th anniversary of King Abdullah's accession to the throne. Since his accession, King Abdullah has followed a reform and development approach in the country's political, economic and social fields. He committed himself to pursue the construction of a modern Jordan and began the reform process as an initial step in order to meet the challenges of globalization while sustaining economic growth and improving living standards. On the occasion, the King received cables of good wishes from heads of state of Arab and world countries and local officials and public figures. His Royal Highness Crown Prince Hussein also received similar cables on the national occasions from senior civic and military officials. In regional news, Saudi-led airstrikes killed at least 19 people across Yemen, a day after Saudi Arabia said shells fired from Yemen killed 2 of its soldiers. Coalition jets pounded the home of an army general and former President Ali Abdullah Saleh's Republican Guard, killing 4 people and wounding 8 others, including 2 of his brothers. Witnesses said fighter jets struck the home of General Ali al-Dhifif in northern Sana'a. Yemeni sources also said 9 Houthi fighters were killed in airstrikes on their positions in oil-producing Ma'rib province east of the capital. 4 others died in the central Ib province. The fighting comes amid continued preparations to bring representatives of the Yemeni government, the Houthi group and former President Ali Abdullah Saleh to talks in Geneva next week. The conflict has taken its toll on the Yemeni people. The United Nations says some 20 million people are in need of some form of humanitarian assistance. Over to Syria, 67 civilians were killed in airstrikes by the Syrian government in Hims and Idlib. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights claimed that 10 women and 6 children were among 49 civilians killed in the village of Janoudiya. The British-based observatory said the Syrian regime had dropped barrel bombs on the city of Al-Rastan, north of Hims, killing 18 civilians. Elsewhere, rebel groups continued to clash with Daesh fighters as both sides vie for control of Syria's northern Aleppo province. The battles were reported between Daesh and an alliance of the Ahrar al-Sham and Sham Front, 2 of the main rebel groups fighting in Aleppo. The rebel alliance said they were using heavy battle tanks against Daesh around the area of al-Qura village. And in Libya, Daesh militants claimed they captured the city of Sirte after seizing a power plant which supplies central and western parts of the country with electricity. Forces loyal to the self-declared government that controls the capital, Tripoli, pulled out of the plant after Daesh attacked it this morning. 3 soldiers were killed in the fighting. Turkey's pro-Kurdish People's Democratic Party, HDP, ruled out taking part in any coalition involving the ruling AK party, which lost its parliamentary majority in weekend polls. HDP co-leader Salahuddin Demirtas said his party, which did remarkably well in the elections, had made it clear it would not be participating in any coalition that involves the AKP. Unofficial results of the polls showed the HDP would take 80 of 550 seats, a stunning result for a party that pollsters had said would struggle to cross the required 10% threshold. The HDP's success also marked a major setback for President Tayyip Erdogan, who had hoped for a crushing victory for the AK party he founded, allowing it to change the constitution and give him broad executive powers. Erdogan has not appeared in public after his ruling AK party lost its parliamentary majority. He repeatedly lashed out at the HDP and its leaders before the elections. Meanwhile, in the mainly Kurdish southeast of Turkey, 4 people were killed after the shooting of an Islamic Aid group leader sparked off a violent clash. The cause of the killing was not immediately clear, although there have been sporadic clashes in the southeast in recent years between Islamists and supporters of the pro-Kurdish People's Democratic Party. Security sources confirmed that the leader of the aid group was shot dead as he left his office in the city of Diyarbakir. They said 3 people were killed in a clash that followed. An Egyptian court sentenced 11 men to death for their part in the country's worst violence at a soccer stadium in which more than 70 fans were killed in 2012. Many of the dead were crushed when panicked fans tried to escape from the Port Said stadium after a post-match pitch invasion by supporters of the local side Al Masri. Others fell or were thrown from terraces. More than 1,000 were injured. The court, whose session was televised live, sentenced 1 of the men to death in absentia, while 10 men got 15 years in jail, 14 were sentenced to 10 years, and 15 men received a 5-year sentence. The charges included murder and attempted murder. 21 people were found innocent. The verdicts can be appealed. Back here at home, Arab League Secretary General Nabil Al-Arabi met with Minister of Foreign Affairs and Expatriates Affairs Nasser Joudeh. The Arab League chief said the Pan-Arab organization appreciated and backed Jordan's efforts with the concerned parties to kickstart serious and timeline peace talks between the Palestinians and Israel. Al-Arabi said negotiations should embrace the 2-state solution, leading to an independent and fully sovereign Palestinian state on Palestinian soil along the June 4, 1967 borders with East Jerusalem as its capital. The meeting also tackled other key developments in the Middle East, mainly international efforts to counter the growing threat of terrorism, as well as boosting cooperation among Arab countries. The foreign minister and the Arab League chief also agreed to pursue coordination between Jordan and the 22-member Arab League. His Royal Highness Crown Prince Hussein led a ceremony for the graduation of the 12th National Defence Programme and the 21st War Course at the Royal Jordanian National Defence College. In his speech at the ceremony, the college's commander said he is proud to graduate a new group of leaders, Jordanians and non-Jordanians, military and civilian, after they received advanced knowledge in sciences according to modern requirements. He called on the graduates to live up to their responsibility, apply what they had learned in the workplace, and use their energies and creativity in the various fields and positions they will run. Towards the end of the ceremony, Prince Hussein, who represented His Majesty the King, distributed certificates to graduates, among them officers from Arab and friendly countries. Some 447 migrants were brought into the Sicilian port of Pozzallo after being rescued at sea by the Italian Coast Guard. The Coast Guard picked up the migrants from 3 different vessels. They were likely to be moved to another part of Italy, as the holding centers nearest the port are virtually at saturation point. The UN Refugee Agency, UNHCR, said about 100,000 migrants have arrived in Greece and Italy so far this year. Some 5,900 people were plucked from boats at the weekend as they made the perilous sea crossing for North Africa to Europe. Thousands more are believed to be waiting in Libya to make the journey. The UNHCR estimates more than 1,800 migrants have drowned, including about 800 who perished in a single shipwreck in April. HSBC will shed almost 50,000 jobs, almost a fifth of its workforce, cutting the assets of Europe's biggest lender by a quarter in a bid to simplify and improve its performance. The bank said about half the staff cuts will come from the sale of businesses in Brazil and Turkey. About 7,000 to 8,000 cuts are expected to be in Britain, or 1 in 6 UK staff. The cuts are part of a second attempt by Chief Executive Stuart Gulliver to boost profits since he took the helm at the start of 2011. HSBC shares rose slightly when markets resumed trading. The bank also set out 11 criteria it will use to evaluate whether to move its headquarters from London to Asia, likely Hong Kong. HSBC said it would complete the review of the possible move by the end of the year.
HSBC is not that the operations are not sound. It's just that they face a hostile regulatory environment. The authorities in the US and UK just want their pound of flesh. They want revenge. And for crimes that actually HSBC really did not contribute that much.
There's a new kind of palm tree in Dubai, a man-made one that enables beachgoers to charge their phones and have free access to Wi-Fi. Dubbed Smart Palm, the device is the first of its kind in the Arab world, a mix of technology with creativity. The device, powered by the sun's rays, provides a variety of services to users, including Wi-Fi connection and phone charging docks at the beach. The 6-meter Smart Palm also offers an emergency feature with a 360-degree built-in camera and an emergency call button. The built-in touchscreen application offers multilingual applications. So far, there are 2 Smart Palms in the city, and the aim is to set up another 80 across parks and beaches in the lead-up to the Expo 2020.
Was the ancient tree, always provided shelter, food, building materials to the people. So we wanted to create something new, modern, but also to have, not to forget where we come from and what the roots are. So just to connect the nature with the technology. So we have created Smart Palm, which provides a digital data, connectivity, charging the batteries, and on and on. So from the ancient to the modern.
Juventus are moving to strengthen their midfield, signing Germany international and World Cup winner Sami Khedira from Real Madrid on a free transfer. 28-year-old Khedira has agreed a 4-year contract with Juve and will join the Turin club on the 1st of July. His move to Juve could facilitate the exit of their France midfielder Paul Pogba, who is reportedly a target for clubs including Real Madrid, Barcelona, and several teams as well as Paris Saint-Germain. And Barcelona defender Dani Alves has agreed to a 2-year extension to the end of 2016-2017 season with an option for a further year. The Brazil international joined Barca from Sevilla and has played a key role in a golden period for the Catalan club, winning 19 trophies, including 3 Champions Leagues, 5 La Liga and 3 Kings Cups. Barca coach Luis Enrique also agreed a 1-year contract extension with the Spanish and European champions until the end of the 2016-2017 season. And Sevilla midfielder Alexis Vidal will join treble winners Barca for a reported $25.5 million. James Kingston, who has gained notoriety after attempting death-defying climbs around the world, has now become the first person ever to stand atop Wembley Stadium's iconic arch. Kingston live-streamed his latest stunt using a head-mounted action camera. The apex of the arch towers 134 meters above the pitch at 90,000 capacity stadium. And not only did he climb the arch, he even took a selfie. And finally, for a quick look at the weather, fair conditions prevail across much of the kingdom tonight with northwesterly moderate winds. As for tomorrow, a slight drop in temperature is expected to become around seasonal average. Therefore, it will be relatively warm in most parts of the country, but hot in the south. Winds will be northwesterly moderate, picking up at times. The Gulf of Aqaba can expect hot conditions, while winds will be northerly moderate and the sea is calm. Here now is a look at temperatures forecast for tonight and tomorrow. And to close, here's a reminder of the day's top stories. His Majesty the King hands the Hashemite flag to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff during a ceremony as Jordanians mark the anniversary of the King's accession to the throne. Saudi-led airstrikes kill at least 19 people across Yemen. And Turkey's pro-Kurdish People's Democratic Party rules out joining any coalition with the ruling AK party, which lost its parliamentary majority after elections. And with this, we come to the end of this edition of the news. I'm Ali Tuqan. Thank you for joining us and have a good night.